All right, we're live. Hi, everybody. My name is Edgar Bernal, and welcome to another edition of Stay Connected with ADJ. And today, our webinar of this educational series of videos that we're doing, which I've been watching, I've been thankful to be a part of, but more than anything, they're just, to give you some insight, some ideas of, what we're going through, what we're about to get ready for once this pandemic is over. But more than anything, we're just trying to keep you guys up to speed with the latest in technology, as well as everything that's out there already existing that you might not have known of that can help you to improve your, whether it's everyday or weekend performances as an entertainer. With me today for this Capture webinar, I have a couple of great panelists that are going to be joining me. First on my right is Jake Rhodes. Jake, if you don't mind, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and maybe what you think of Capture.
Sure. So yeah, everybody, my name is Jake Rhodes. The product specialist and showroom manager for ADJ. I use Capture a lot, and mostly when it comes to designing things when I cannot be in the space. And for me, in my role, that really comes down to trade shows. And I'm sure Edgar has a lot to talk about when it comes to Capture and trade shows. But being able to use Capture as a tool to design and to pretty much get, I would say, roughly 80% of the programming done for the space before I even walk into something. That's what I use Capture for, pretty much altogether. That either just testing things out, but yeah, that's Capture for me.
Nice. Thank you, Jake. And also we have Mr. Bob Mentley from Wisconsin. Bob, if you don't mind, can you do the same? Just give us a little rundown of your experiences with Capture and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am Bob Mentley, Vertical Market Manager for ADJ, and I actually am also the product manager for Capture on the Elation side. So I am pretty well versed in the software on the back end, tech support, and things of that nature. I use it pretty often to do some customer designs. If a customer comes to us and maybe needs some help on a system, I throw their model into Capture, throw the system together. I'm actually working on a House of Worship sample system for our sister company Elation to use for a design contest is what I'm using it for right now. So if you guys are Capture users and Onyx users, watch out for that coming soon.
Very nice. Thank you, Bob. So there you have it. I'm honored to be a part of this webinar with Jake and Bob. As you can see, with Jake being our product specialist, using Capture probably more than ever now, and then also with Bob, who's helping out with drawings, which are 3D renderings. And myself, just a quick rundown on my experiences with Capture. I've been using it since about 2013. We started doing our trade show designs with Capture, and one of the main reasons for that, and just to try to make this a little bit of fun, but before, our trade shows were drawn out on a big sheet of paper where we would actually draw the fixtures in. And back in those days, it was Visi Spot 5R, it was AccuSpots, it was aggressors, all that kind of stuff, and we would guesstimate, if you will, what a 10-foot stick of truss would be, and try to fit as many lights as we could on there. Behold to realize that we get to our show, whatever city it was in, and we try to hang the fixtures, and we say, you know what, there's just not enough room. So it was a big push for us to start using Capture, and once we started to do that, it really helped out to realize, like, hey, you know what, this is real life, because with Capture, one of the great things about it is they use all the technical details from the factory. So like ADJ, when we get or we send a request for a profile to be made in Capture, we send them all the details of our products. And you're talking about the dimensions, you're talking about the weight, And probably more importantly to all you electricians out there and integrators, also the power draw. So you can actually get a full detailed report of what, let's say, that 10-foot piece of truss now is going to be drawing for your integration or for your house of worship, whatever it might be. But all of those things are very, very helpful. So that's a quick rundown of my experiences with Capture. But if you're not familiar with Capture, if you've never downloaded it, here's just a quick rundown. The program actually was developed and has been around in existence since the mid-90s, 1994 to be exact. And so you talk about a company with experience. We pride ourselves on experience and service since we've been around since the mid-80s. Capture being around almost just that long, just a decade apart. So talk about the experiences they have with lights, with renderings, with 3D visuals, with all of that good stuff. These guys are growing and they're learning just as any company should that's been around that long. So if you're looking for a reputable company that has been around for a long time, Capture obviously has been. Some things to know about the software. There are different levels of the software. The level that ADJ offers is solo. So you can actually purchase that from any distributor of ADJ products, any online retailer that you might deal with, or any company that you deal with that is an authorized dealer of ADJ. And as far as system requirements, it runs on both Mac and PC, so you don't need just a MacBook or just a Windows computer. It'll run on both platforms. All that we ask is, since there is 3D rendering, 3D visualizations, such as video manipulating softwares, you're gonna want a machine that can handle that. And just an idea, gaming computers are always equipped with very, very nice graphics cards. And the purpose for that is because if you're running on a machine that might be outdated, if you're trying to do your movements, if you're trying to do video, especially once you start getting into pixel mapping and all that good stuff, you don't want to be limited to your machine because number one, you're making an investment on this program. So you want to get the most out of your investment, and why limit yourself to your machine? The whole reason with 3D visualization and anything with video is your limitation is what you have on your mind. So really there's no limits to what you can create with Capture. And during my downtime, I've actually created some very, very nice displays for an LDI show that might happen, or for an Infocom, or for a nightclub and bar. Believe it or not, even when I moved into my house, I used it to kind of make here's how 3 steps would look in my driveway, or just you can do so much with it. And again, you're just limited to what you can think of. And the more and more you practice with Capture, the more that you're going to be able to grow with it. Jake or Bob, you have anything to add to that?
Bob?
No, I think, for me, it's a pretty powerful sales tool for a lot of if anyone in the video watching it are a dealer or an integrator or designer, can be a very powerful sales tool that can give customers a great idea of what a system is going to look like in their venue before they go and invest a lot of money, and without not really knowing what the impact may be. So for a lot of customers that we work with, it's a great sales tool.
Right on, yeah. And that's a very important key feature there too. So Jake, yeah, sorry.
The only thing I was going to say is that you kind of touched upon system requirements. And the only thing I really have to say is I think that's there's a lot of big changes when it comes to Capture between 2018 and 2019 versus the 2020 version. I'm sure Edgar, you'll talk a little bit about that too, the new features. But one of the biggest things they implemented is how 3D and how all the live modes are rendered. So before, I have a laptop that has a 1070 in it, and that's a graphics card, by the way. And sometimes I would get lag. I run it on 2020 now, and it just runs so much smoother. So a lot of the stuff in their newer version of 2020 has been optimized, and it's running a lot smoother now on less powerful machines. But what Edgar has said is very important. Getting a right machine for the right type of things you use. So keep the system requirements in mind when picking out a a device that you're going to be running it on.
Yeah, definitely right. And with like most softwares, there is an option for try before you buy. So make sure you go on to Capture's website. You'll find a link where you can download a demo or a sample of it. I believe it's like an educational mode for the software, but it's very easy. It's just capture.se, like Sam Edward, capture.se. You'll find some great tutorial videos. You'll find a lot of just very, very useful information as far as getting more familiar with the software more than what we'll try to give you guys today. So right now, for my panelists, if you don't mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a screen share, and I'm very excited to do this because if you've seen any of the Facebook Lives that I've done, I've tried to use my camera, go on Facebook Live, and you're seeing my screen. You might see a glare, but now we have Zoom. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. Click this, and I'm going to hit
We
capture.
have the technology.
Yeah, we do. We at ADJ, we're one step ahead. So here we are. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to stand up on my seat now, get a little busy. So this is not what you're going to see when you run Capture, but this is actually a kind of a program that I created, or a demo file, if you will. And the reason for this was to show a combination of different styles of truss, as well as human figures, lights, road cases, and a stage. So you name it, it's all here. And just so you guys know, we are trying to monitor questions on Facebook as it's happening live. But what we're going to do is we're going to save questions for closer to the end. Sometimes someone joins in and maybe the same question gets answered twice or asked twice. And even sometimes during the broadcast, a question is answered without us even knowing about it. So we're just going to get through this. And if you don't mind, just keep your questions going. We are keeping track of them. And if they don't get answered during our broadcast right here, at the end, when we address questions, we will be sure to answer them for you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is organizing and customizing windows. So with the general platform of Capture, you actually have 4 windows that are right on your screen. And it's basically just how you see it. You have your top left, top right, bottom right, and bottom left. And unfortunately, I don't think you guys could see my mouse.
We can see it, Edgar.
You could? Okay, good. All right, so yeah, I just couldn't. Oh yeah, because there's a delay. So I got to try not to pay attention to the delay there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the screen on the top left to try to talk about as far as customizing your windows. Number one, you have your 2 directional pads here. You can always use your mouse pad too once you get comfortable with moving around your camera or zooming in and out if you needed to. But watch what happens. I'm going to click on here and just move around. So as you can see, now I'm actually moving around this design in just this one view without affecting my other views. But now you get an idea of how I can go in and I could say, oh, there's a drummer back here. Let me make sure their foot is on the pedal. Again, if you're sending this as a rendering, the whole point of this being 3D is you want it to be as real life as possible. So the advantage of having the ability to go around in your views and everything, it's really, really good. So we're going to zoom in now. And what I'm going to do is, if you're familiar with the new platform of Apple, that you use your 2 fingers and as you open up, you zoom in just like you do on your pictures. Same thing will happen there. So I'm zooming in. And then again, if I go back to my move around, I can move around this object. If I hold shift and then click, now I'm actually kind of moving this around without having to move the camera around. So there's a lot of things once you start getting comfortable with manipulating and moving of your cameras that you'll feel comfortable to get around in your design. So now I'm just going to zoom out. And then again, the one to the right here, you can use this also to zoom in and out just by clicking and dragging your finger along. And then in this mode, if I just move as close to front as possible, this box here, if I get it to be a perfect box, it'll snap into that view. And then of course you have your tools here, your views, where you can actually do that with a command if you needed to also. So this is this view, and I'm just gonna move this around here. Now these things you see here, these are what are called your widgets. They're built into the program. This is your atmosphere, and then this is your camera. For purposes where you wanted that not to be seen, you can always go into your settings here, where now you have the ability to change the view of how it looks, your cameras. But down here, how you see widgets is checked. If I uncheck that, now those are going to be gone. So bring back the widgets and my camera comes back again. So those are some of the cool things you could do. I'm just going to select out so you can see now some of the other changes I'm going to do. So right now I'm in wireframe, which is this view. I could change this to plot. And now it looks like, you imagine a plot is a piece of paper that you would write down and make notes on. This is your plot view. You can also create plots, just like how I stated, where you jot down notes. We'll show that to you in a little bit. But this is your plot view, where it starts to look a little bit more like real life, but you can see here, just a different view for you. So in case you wanted to see where, again, you can see where the electrical paths are on the lights. So if you were a designer and you wanted it to move this around, make it easier for your setup crew, let's say I put the power here. Now I can, if I were doing, let's say, power pass through, then it makes it easier for setup. So that's just a useful thing to see there in the plot view. And then you have your live view. So the live view is basically what you see down here. And now, don't get worried, all your lights are off. Right over here in design, this bottom right part of the screen, I would say, or your window, is where everything happens. So you can have all of your selected items. Right now I have none selected. If I were to select, let's say, this light, it's telling me right here that this is an Encore FR150Z. But we're gonna go to views, and your views, each one of them are all here. So you have your alpha, your beta, and your gamma. And it says it just right here. So you have your alpha, gamma, and then over here is your beta. So if I go to my alpha view, and if I scroll down, you'll see right over here, ambient lighting is at 0%. So I'm just gonna click on that and bring that up to 100%. And now pretty much I just turn on the lights. So now I'm able to see this live view with some light rather than being in the dark. Purpose for that is once you start turning on the lights in your program, you have the capability of controlling your ambient lighting. So you can, let's say the venue you were designing for only ran their lights at, let's say, 40%, then you could do exactly that here and put it at 40%. And that's what your lights are gonna look at, 40%. So for the sake of this training, we're just gonna get this back to its wireframe view. Now, if you're, I've seen some of our designers that might be working on a new install, and sometimes you have multiple screens that you can run on this program. This also supports that. So you can actually break apart all of these sections. So number one, you can maximize one screen just by clicking here. We'll use the bottom left. And now this screen is in a full screen mode. So now I'm only seeing this. Makes it great for zooming in even further so you can see things in much more detail. But we'll bring this back down just by clicking on the arrow again. And now I'm in my normal view. And check this out. What I'm gonna do is eject this window now. So if I eject this, now I have this as a secondary screen. So if I had another monitor, I can drag this over to that monitor and have this in full screen while I have all of my commands on, let's say, my laptop or my computer. So those are some of the cool things. And then as far as your view here, now you can see that your settings here has expanded and these views are still here. So it gives you the chance for flexibility. So you can actually move the windows around and customize them to your liking as a software should allow you to do. Now, if I wanted this to go back to normal, I'll just go back to this view here and close it. And now it's back just by simply closing it in that extended window.
Edgar, if I may, just insert a comment. So this is really powerful because especially when you're working on one screen and you're doing pre-visualization, and this is kind of jumping to the end of the training, but when you're actually designing something with the console live, you know, it's really hard to kind of sit there and look at all the screens, and you really just want to pop one of them big, but then you may want something to the side that looks like the patch or whatever. You know, having multiple monitors and being able to take one of these views and blow it up on a full-size monitor or television. You know, I've seen people hook these up to like 65-inch 4K TVs, and again, really great designing tool. And you can kind of set it up however you want to.
Nice. Bob, you got anything to add?
Nope.
Awesome. All right, so there you have it. Just a quick overview of organizing and customizing your windows with Capture. Now what we're going to do is an overview of these tabs here. These tabs are pretty much your settings, like we did with our design, where we were able to see our views and change those. You also have the ability to see your fixtures. Now, your fixtures tab is a very important one, especially if you're looking to get the most out of your lights. Like we talked about in the beginning, imagine, I mean, especially during these times when a lot of showrooms and retailers might be limited to curbside pickup only. This reminds me of early days when I was in retail. We had really awesome, I mean, I don't want to, give away my age, but we had really cool VHS tapes that would have light show demos from ADJ or American DJ in those days. And I would actually watch those videos. Then they transferred to DVD, but I would watch those and I would say, hey, you know what? This light is going to be great for you because I could see what it does in this video, and that's why I'm recommending this light. But now, with this software, you're able to do all of those on a program. So you can do all of your shootouts, you can do all of your product demonstrations pretty much in Capture. And like Jake mentioned earlier, as far as the rendering of it, you're gonna get close to 85% of what it's gonna look like in real life. I mean, percentage-wise, might give or take a little bit, but it's very, very well close to being real life. And again, stressing the importance of your fixtures tab here, you actually get your channel, which we'll see in a second, but it gives you the name. And as you click on them, it actually, if you could see it changing here in my front view, it's actually letting me know which fixture I'm actually selecting. Now, patched, we'll get to that in a second. Mode, this is great, especially before you start patching, because you can go in, and again, how Capture is paying attention to the manufacturers, they're listing all the channel modes that are available for fixtures. So for our Encore FR150Z, you have up to its 4-channel mode, which gives you the ability to have the master dimmer, shutter, and just any extra functions that might be on your light. Like for example, let's go to our Visi CMY 300 here. Right now they're in basic mode, but if I go to extended, let me just expand this so you can see everything. So this fixture here, Visi CMY 300 in extended mode, is 38 channels. So now I'm gonna know that if I were patching this, if I were looking to get what a prism or focus is gonna look like in Capture, I would be able to do that. So we're just bringing the screen back down. And so here again, you have your fixtures and pretty much all the information that you have on that. Now, universes. This is great because this is the tool or the tab that I've used the most, especially when programming for shows, trade shows. This is where I do my patching so that my fixtures could then talk to my console, or using ArtNet so that I can program on a console in real time to Capture. So just by clicking here, we're gonna patch a fixture just so you can see it happen in real life. So this fixture here is selected, and A, or universe 1, if you will, it's letting you know that each universe is 512 channels. This is not a DMX course, but you should know that a DMX universe is limited to 512 channels. So Capture already knows that. So it's doing one step of thinking already for you. So then all I would need to do is I could go to any one of these windows, but just grab the fixture, bring it down to here, and it's already giving me the add sign. So if I just let go, it automatically patches that fixture. So here it's saying Visi CMY 300, and it's that fixture that I set to 38 channel mode, and now it is patched in universe 1 as channel 1. Now, to check that, I could go back to fixtures and check it out. Here it's saying A1. So you have this fixture again in universe 1, or A as it's signified, and it's on address 1. How helpful is this? If you are the lighting designer, or if you're the designer for the integration job that you might be doing, and you're on site and you have the crew, maybe hollering at you and saying, hey, what address does this fixture need to be? You could simply look at the design, select that fixture, and again, this is once everything is patched, and go over here and say, that needs to be in universe 1. And by the way, that should be on address 1. So very, very helpful. It tells you what channel mode it should be on. But this will pretty much eliminate any troubleshooting that you might have to do with a DMX universe or a fixture that is not responding correctly to DMX. So that's just a basic overview of your fixtures and your universes. And again, for bigger shows, you start getting into more and more universes. Once you start doing pixel mapping, ArtNet, you start running out of channels very quickly. But as you can see here, 16 universes that it's giving you, and 16 times 512 channels. Put it this way, I've designed some of our biggest trade show booths, and purpose of a trade show is show everything that you got, show the latest and greatest, and show them in quantities. So we run out of channels very, very quickly. I've never even got past 12, to be honest. And that's, talking about video, pixel, ClingNet, all that good stuff. And, but, I'm not saying that every show is the same. Your show might be bigger, larger, but the advantages of having 16 onboard universes is very, very helpful.
Can I comment, Edgar?
Sure.
So, patch is super important. And on top of that, and I'm sure Edgar will get into this, but I'm just kind of commenting. You can also do, when you're patching things in your wireframe mode, you can actually select sequential patch. So basically, the order you click them in, you can just say, sequential patch, and it will patch it all in, fill it right in. So you don't have to do each individual unit. It's super easy. And another cool thing we were talking about is, when someone does ask, oh, hey, what is this address? Or, hey, what circuit is this hooked up to? Any of this information you put into the universe or the fixtures tab, anything information that you put in there regarding patch, channel, unit number, or anything, that will actually show up in the plot tab. So kind of like how you would a traditional plot in a drafting software like AutoCAD or whatever, you can have it select and actually show exactly what you want it to show in that patch, and you can again print it out and hand them out. That's what we do in theater a lot. We call them cardboards, because a lot of times people would put them on cardboards and handing them to the electric crew and be like, here you go do your job, so you don't have to sit there for hours answering questions. So all that combines together to make a very powerful tool.
Nice, thank you, Jake. So again, so that sequential patching is huge, especially once you start getting into quantities. Thank you for explaining that, because as you see here at the front of the stage, I have a series of fixtures, and rather than having to grab one, select it, drag it, that's where sequential patching makes life easy and saves you a lot of time in the front end, so you can have more time for the fun and programming. So thank you, Jake, for that. Now the next tab we have here is media, and this is where you can start doing some of your stuff with video. So you see here, all these squares here, these are my video panels. Which ones are they? Let's click on one and quickly go back to design. Selected item. Nice, this is our AV2. So I set up a nice display of our AV2s. And I have a video that's already here. So if I hit play, watch my live view over here. Bam. So now my video is happening in real time. How cool is that? You can have JPEGs, videos, whatever you wanted. I mean, especially if you're pre-programming for corporate events, big shows, and they had, let's say, company logos, artist logos, just anything for promotion, you can show this is exactly how the event is going to look with the videos that you supplied, and here it is. And if you wanted to add video files, I did download a few. Let's see here. Let me go to my downloads, not my documents.
And while you're finding that, Edgar, just my quick quirk on that too is this can be super useful for event companies that are selling projects. They can build the whole project in Capture. It's not super sophisticated like you do in an actual drafting software. So you can build it really fast. You can throw all the logos you want on this, turn on all the lights without even hooking up a console. Edgar will get to that and be like, here, client, this is what we propose, So you can, kind of like what we do for sales, and like Bob was saying, helping out customers with churches, you can throw all this together super fast with very little effort, and you have a whole design/sales pitch right there.
Exactly. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just adding those video files live in real time and just hitting play. It's really, really just that simple. You set up your screens. You do have to create a layer and map them out. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But once it's done, you can just start having fun by watching the videos and integrating those with your lights to make sure that, colors match and are in sync, and it just
I might do this later today, just because I'm so bored with this quarantine, just make myself a little festival rig and put Moana up there or something.
Oh, nice. See, so I mean, it's all about fun and just, doing this with the whole purpose of, once things go back to normal, we're showing this software as a tool that I think is usable and necessary for anybody that's in the entertainment business. There are different forms of 3D rendering or visualization softwares, but Capture is one that ADJ and our sister company Elation distributes. So if you're interested in taking the next step as a mobile entertainer, performer, and making sure that your show is set up beforehand so that you're ready for the real deal or the real life show, this is as real life as you're going to get. So here's your video files, and if I had multiple screens, I could simply just hit add, and then here's video player 2, and there it is. I have nothing set to that, but just to show you how quick it is to add another video if there was another video wall or video display that was created. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Then you have your snapshots. This is a very, very cool section where you can actually create snapshots, and just by hitting this, I could record a still, and we'll just leave it as new snapshot. So here it is. So there's my new snapshot. I could even do a movie. Since this is a video and it's playing, I can do this, hit record, and now it's recording this as a movie. So again, rather than just sending a client pictures, I could send them an actual movie. So here it is, and it would be playing. And then you have your settings too, where you could rename, you could stop, and all that good stuff. So these are your snapshots. Very useful, especially if you're sending a file as, for sharing to your client. They can go in here in case they're not, well versed with the software. They can just go to the snapshots. You can help them by doing a Zoom conference or over the phone and get them over to this section where they can see the snapshots that you wanted to show. Guys, anything to add to that? All right.
Bob?
Nope.
Well, I mean, my 10 cents is, this is super useful because instead of having to do like a screen recording software, it's all within the program. It's right there. And then you can take these snapshots and stuff like that and export them into a kind of presentation mode, whether that, being a person selling a project to a customer. For me, I've done a lot of, I have a pretty heavy educational background. And what I really see this was for lighting designers' thesis projects. You know what I mean? If you're just, you're projecting a thesis project, and you can say like, oh yes, and this is the exact cue, blah blah blah, there, and literally show the file of it fading down and dimming like right on stage. I mean, how cool is that? This technology gives us the tools to take our presentations for anything to a whole new level, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like you said, anything. I've used this, more for trade shows, obviously, but now in my new role as, being a territorial sales manager, I help my guys out with a lot of quotes, and it goes from everything to installations where several of these panels are going to look with lights, to how is my house of worship going to look with adding your focus spot for Z, whatever it might be. But for you name it, from small to large, Capture has helped me to help people with a better understanding of what, I'm trying to present as, just really just trying to get people involved with our product, the reason for it. And the idea that I have is really just to create, like our, slogan said for many years, create pure lighting excitement. And what better way, than using Capture to show, here it is. Here's my bundle, here's the package, and this is what you're getting into. And not one person hasn't got excited. Everybody, they see it, they get the idea, and most of the times it's, I want that. I gotta have that. And the biggest thing, again, since, my time with using Capture, not once has anybody been disappointed with, hey, that's not what it looked like in Capture. It's basically apples to apples. So yeah, it's a very, very powerful controller or software. The last tab, we're gonna spend a little bit of time here because this is where you find everything. This is your library, which we touched on, the demo program, if you will, or the educational demo program with Capture. There are limitations. You're limited to one show file that doesn't have access to the full library that Capture offers. But you purchase the software and you get access to this incredible library. We're going to dive into this. And just speaking of education, Jake, if you didn't mind, I know we had a note that Capture was doing for their educational, version of their program. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, in the educational realm, usually what will happen is that basically whoever the equipment manager, we'll call it a lab room, but basically a room with a bunch of computers in it, especially for technical theater or even engineering, they'll have softwares on it like CAD. QLab, I believe, does it as well, which is a sound MIDI controller device. Let's see what else. Vectorworks, and including Capture itself. So basically, what the educational would do, they would pay for one license, and then they would be able to register 20 of those machines for that license, and they basically all be able to share information. It's just a demo room. You know what I mean? So they provide you with deals so educations can they don't have to pay for 20 licenses, which is a lot of money. So that's the normal. What Capture has chosen to do now is they'll actually let you register 20 devices up to your students' laptops instead of just to a home computer or to a computer in a computer lab. So basically now that is, if an education, let's say they have a lighting design MFA and they wanted to do a project in Capture, but you can't be at school because everything's online now, you can actually register your home computer or laptop or personal computer under that license, and you can use the license while at home while the educational is still paying for it. Because at the moment, Capture does not offer a free student full edition. There are student editions you can download online that will use not specific fixtures, but fixture types like ellipsoidals and pars, and you can kind of play around there, but it's very limited. So there are no free full licenses available. So that's a really big deal when it comes to education, especially now that everyone's staying at home. So basically they're bringing the opportunity to everybody.
Excellent, thank you, Jake. All right, so let's get into the library. So you have built-in, you have recent, where you can see here, look at some of the stuff that I've been most recently using: American DJ, ADJ, Elation, and Stages. Busy guy, working with all the companies that we have here. You have your objects. This is fun. This is where you'll find a lot of useful real-life objects that you can think of. So you got here a CD player, you got headphones, a mixer, vinyl turntable, and with all of this, it's as simple as just clicking and dragging. So here it is. What did I click? Vinyl turntable. So I'm going to zoom in, and now I have a turntable floating in space. So you can see there, it looks really real life. And again, for the sake of having, if there's going to be a DJ poolside at your casino, resort, or hotel, what better way to make it more obvious than the guy standing with his hands up with turntables in front of him? So that just makes it nice for rendering. But I just did Command Z to get rid of that. You have electronics here. You have flat screens, wide screens, televisions, again, for, I would say, churches, house of worship, clubs, lounges. Almost all of those facilities or venues, if you will, use actual televisions, whether it's for announcements, if it's for a list of events. Everybody's got them. So again, you have your screens here in various sizes that you can use to make it look like the TV that's going to be there for your integration. You have arches, box curtains, all that good stuff, and then even furniture. You have an auditorium lectern. If you're using this for school, theater, wherever a lectern might be used, you have it here. Let's see, I'll just add one real quick. So I'm gonna just bring it here. You can see here, this is the lectern that I just added, and I'll put it in front of the singer. So now, my model here is, gotta move this over. My model is not singing anymore, they are speaking. Just that easy. So there you have your lectern. You have a bar counter, bar stools, again, restaurants, lounges. If, there's a lot of places where they're building from the ground up. And, if you didn't have time to create an actual 3D drawing of what the bar is gonna look like, you just need something for generic purposes, you have a lot of these that you can use for the time being, so that way you can get a bid out or whatever it might be, so that way, they know exactly what you're working with. You have chandeliers. So these are just objects. Now, materials, this is another really cool one. So this is your library. Right now I have my floor as kind of this hardwood floor. And again, this is my training file. What I plan to do is send this file out to anyone who's interested in getting this, so that way you can use this file for training purposes. It's already all built, and that way you could just download it and do everything, side by side with this video if you wanted to rewatch it, or just do it on your own. This file should help you with getting something on your screen rather than just a blank screen. But let's go over to metals. So I have brass, I have dark metal, I have gold. Gold textured. That sounds really cool. So what I'll do is I'll just click and drag this over to my floor. And I have the opportunity to assign it to the deck, assign to support, which is the legs that you see there, or assign to all. I'm just gonna do assign to all. And look at that, now it's a textured gold floor. Can't get more fancier than that. But, again, if this was your wall, if this was your, ultra lounge where you had nice decorations on your walls, you wanted them to look better than just a plain white or gray wall, you can use these nice materials that are built into your library already and give an idea of what it's going to look like. Your truss, this is awesome. It's not limited to just one truss manufacturer. As you know, we distribute, we have our sister company, which is Global Truss. They have many different truss solutions for you, from standard aluminum, black truss, powder coating, all of that good stuff. Anyway, I won't get too much into it, but you have every manufacturer in here. So again, if you're trying to recreate a show or trying to just create something with, if you went to a trade show and you saw, oh, that was a really cool piece of truss that I saw, just look for the manufacturer, look for that piece, and this is all at your disposal now. So you can use any one of these pieces and create your own truss structure, where here I have just these little pieces. And then again, you could limit it. You have kind of a filter. So if I wanted to do rectangular, now it's showing me the manufacturers that just have rectangular. Let's highlight Global there. Let's say triangular, Global's still there. Ladder, look at that, Global is still there. Bar, okay, talk about having everything that you need. And then
Is
if
this a shameless plug?
I gotta do it, I'm sorry. But
we mentioned Global Dress.
check this out, they're nice little quick grid. So I'll just click and drag that. And then this is just like with anything. You use these to move them around. If you've ever done any kind of manipulating with, I was off a little bit there. With any one of our programs, My DMX has it, but here, now I have the quick grid piece in there, and it's just floating in space. But it's real easy. From here, you could just imagine stacking on, and creating a design. I'm just gonna get rid of that. So let's see. And so that's pretty much just your library. I didn't talk about the fixtures, sorry, so that's the most important. Just like with our truss, your lighting manufacturers are all here. Again, if you missed the beginning of this, Capture has been around since 1994. You're talking about the mid-90s. And as far as knowing all the different lights that have ever been in existence, they're all there. And you can always use your filter to type something in. So if I type in pocket, it shows me all the manufacturers that have something associated with the word pocket. And so here we have from ADJ, American DJ, Crazy Pocket 8, Inno Pocket Fusion. I mean, look at all these guys. Down to our Pocket Scan. One of the most popular effect scanners, DMX scanners that American DJ ever had, I think, was our Pocket Scan, and it's still in here. Every now and then, I just go digging, whether it's OfferUp, eBay. I look for any of these old lights. I still want to try to buy them because they were just so cool. And but yeah, this is still in here. So if I wanted to set up 4 of these in this 3D rendering, see what it's going to look like, with addition to, let's say I have Pocket Pros or something like that, go ahead and do that. This is big. There's a lot of guys, sometimes they reach out to me, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, and say, hey, I found this deal for these X lights and they have X amount of these and they're, asking for this much money. And they always ask, is that a good deal? This and that. How cool would it be where you can implement these into a drawing side by side with the lights you already own and get the better idea of, oh, you know what? These are gonna look good. I'm gonna make that investment. And this goes with any new fixture. Let's talk about something brand new, focus spot. So I just type in focus spot, hit enter, and look what's in here. Our new 2X. We've got our brand new focus spot 5Z that's shipping now, focus spot 6Z. So for your integrators out there, if you had someone call you and say, hey, I'm interested in 6 focus spot 6Zs, what can you tell me about those? Or, can you get me a quote on that? Put them into a drawing. You probably work with that, whether it's House of Worship Club, whatever it might be, but you probably already have a CAD drawing or some sort of drawing of their facility. Throw those into your drawing and send that over. And a lot of times it's gonna help you, again, with getting the idea of what that addition is gonna look like to that venue.
If I can, Edgar?
Yes.
So with the 5Z and 6Z, actually, when we put these units in Capture, because we designed with Capture for all of our trade shows, this was based off of prototype information. So what we actually do is we get them in there as soon as we possibly can. So sometimes, the gobos may not be 100% accurate. So what we'll do is actually, when we have finalized information, then we'll send it to Capture, and they will update that. Which brings me to the point I wanted to say, is that even if your light isn't in here, Capture is super fast. And usually, if there's not a light that's in here, you can send them the manual and the website, and they'll probably get back to you within 2 days with a patch saying this will be available within at specific time and everything. So even if it's not in there, you can request it, and we're always updating our stuff that's in here.
Yeah, great point. And from my experiences, you hit it right in the head, Jake. It's just these companies in Europe, they just really amaze me with the support that they have. It's actually inspiring. I want to be as good as them, because it doesn't matter what hour I send it at. Sometimes it's at the end of my day, and it's probably 3, 4 in the morning for them, but I get a response. And usually the next day, that new fixture or product is implemented into their library. I get excited. I know sometimes it's a drag when you log into a program and it says an update is available. It happens a lot with our apps, but with a software like Capture, it doesn't bug me, because if there's an update available, I get excited. I say, oh, something was added. It's probably this. It's probably the request I sent back. It's exciting to know that these guys are on it. And again, just having everything here in your library, from objects, truss, fixtures, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead now and let's add something in. So if I look around at my drawing, I can see that, I have my beams here in the front. I got some fixtures there. But let's say I wanted to light this presenter. Let's do this. One of the linear fixtures I could think of is a UB12H. Oops. So here we go. So here's our UB12H, and I'm going to show you just how easy this is. So I'm going to click and drag this over here. Looks like it's already in this side view. I could see that it's already running linear, which if I just do this, I could see it's already set up. I look here, it's already right in front of them. I could see that it's here. I'm going to bring this down again. There we go. So in real life, things aren't floating, even though I wish I had the ability to do that. But now here in my live view, I'm going to turn this light on. And I could see here that there's no light coming out. So guess what? It's probably just flipped around. So, and again, this video is going to be saved online. So anything that I'm doing, you can rewatch. Again, this is an intro to the software, so we're looking to do more and more of these online webinars to help you with a better understanding of what I'm doing. But here we go. I'm just going to flip this around, and you can see there now we have light. And as I'm moving this around, it's just going by degrees. I could see that now I have light on my presenter, my performer, my artist, whatever you want to call it. And I'll just leave it there. And now I have a linear fixture here. So gives you an idea how quick and easy it is to add in fixtures, import fixtures, objects, truss, you name it. So there you go. We covered pretty much the tabs that you have here, your design, fixtures, universes, and I think we're doing okay on time, but I don't want to go too long. So what I want to do right now is let's try to answer some questions maybe that came in. I'm just going to look at the feed as it went by. Someone was asking about the different levels of capture that we offer. My buddy Andrew over in Massachusetts. Hey, Bob, if you don't mind, since you're on the elation side, can you talk about some of the different capture options that they offer?
Sure. And I'm just going to do a quick overview of the differences between the versions as well as the additions and upgrading and all of that, because that is one of the more pretty frequent questions in general. So Capture itself is updated about every year. You do not have to update your software every year. Once you buy a license, it is a perpetual license. You can use that version. Capture only supports up to 5 years or 5 versions back. So as of now, if you had any previous version of Capture, including Argo, Atlas, Nexium, 2018 and 2019. Eventually, in 2018, they went to the years instead of creating weird names. Thank the Lord. So back 5 years, you can upgrade your Capture license to the newest version for a minimal upgrade price. If your Capture license is older than that, you have to buy a new license. Then, Capture comes in various editions. The editions are differentiated by a few things. The most important for our uses are the amount of universes of lighting that you can add to your design. Not too long ago, you were able to add as many lights as you wanted, but the ability to patch and utilize them with a lighting console was limited in universes. However, Capture has changed that now, and it is a little bit more stringent on how many lights you can even add into your design. So they break it down into 4 options: solo, duet, quartet, and symphony. Solo is very simply one of everything. So you get 1 universe of DMX. You can add in 1 video into the stream, like Edgar is playing. You can have 1 streaming video, which means you can be pulling in a live video from a video source to stream into your design. Or you can have 1 laser feed. There are you add on optional laser control programs that allows you to add laser effects into your designs. And then water jets. So they have simulated water jets like water fountains in the system as well. Duet doubles each of those things. So you get 2 universes of lighting, 2 local videos, 2 streaming videos, 2 laser feeds. Quartet is 4 universes, 4 videos, 4 streaming videos. And then Symphony is infinite of everything, but I would put an asterisk next to that saying as much as your computer can handle.
Unlimited power.
The more lighting elements that you put in your design, the more taxing it is on the processor. So Symphony is unlimited. However, it's gonna the power of your computer is really gonna be the limitation. And then also you can upgrade between editions. So if you have solo, you can pay a minimal fee to upgrade to the other 3 editions. Likewise with duet and quartet. Now, to upgrade your license edition, let's say you have solo 2019 and you want to change to duet, quartet, or symphony. You actually have to update to the current version of 2020 before you can update editions. So if you have a solo 2019, you have to pay for the 2020 upgrade, and then you can upgrade your edition to include more channel counts. So let me look at the feed here. Did that pretty much answer everybody's questions about updating? Is it pretty clear about the editions? Capture.se, if you go to their website, there's a tab that explains this as well in a graphic view. The only current edition right now that you can download is Capture 2020. You can download the archived versions, but if I don't know why you'd want to do that.
And you can also download fixture libraries at any time. So even if you have an older software and there's a new light that comes out, you can download a new fixture library, right?
Yep. Yeah, great point. Yeah, thank you, Bob. That was very informative, and I think that just about answered the question for that. And Unfortunately, we're reaching almost close to the end of this this webinar, if you will. But what I wanted to do is I promised you, let's make this cool display here come to life. So what I did is I went back over to my fixtures page, and this is also just an overview of how to grab control of your lighting's fixtures without DMX. But here I have my Encore FR150Zs. Just by holding shift to the end, I can select all of them and I turn them on. What I'm gonna do now also is go over to design, and this is my gamma view. So I'm just gonna turn off the ambient light. I had it at 81%. Let's bring this down. Let's get ready for showtime. So I'm gonna have this at about 14%. And don't worry, after I've done this, I'm gonna zoom all in, and we're gonna talk about how we did this, but hopefully you're getting the idea of that right now. So bam, I'm gonna turn on my beams. There's my bam I was looking for. And let's make these blue. So now I have my beams shooting up. Got my UB already going. That's the guy that I just added. And for my Visi CMY, I'm gonna put it back into basic mode so it can talk just like the rest of my lights. So I'm gonna select all of those. Oh wow, so those are on this circular truss. So if I do this, yep, got some action, some beams, exciting beams coming at you, coming at the audience using, I mean, look how real life this is. This knows that Gobo 1 on my fixed Gobo wheel is that beam reducer that narrows down my Visi CMY 300. Next, I got my VisiWash Z19s. I mean, look how easy this is. I'm gonna put this on a nice blue color. No, I got too much blue already, so I'm gonna put that on a magenta. Bring up magenta, now I got that. It's washing out my CMYs a little bit too much, so let's zoom it in, and let's maybe point this at the performer. Simple, right? So now I got that going, and I've got some 3D visions in here, which are still some of my favorite lights. But again, I'm just gonna bring this to, let's say, a nice little blue. There we go. The blue value, bring up the master dimmer, and voila, there you go. So with my video still going, just maximized this screen a bit. But there you have it. If this was a performance, I would very, very much be entertained with this kind of show. But again, that is onboard controls with what you can do. As far as making a screenshot with Apple, you just do, I believe it's Command Shift 4, so you can take a screenshot. But down here, you can also do Save Image, and you could save it wherever you need to and call it whatever you wanted. That's an easy way to create a still shot. But there you have it, guys. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Here we are again. I think you still saw us up in the corner. But that's Capture, just in a basic overview. Again, I really want to thank Jake and Bob for helping to share their insight on this. What I am excited to do for the next time, and something for you to look forward to, is this was an introduction. Now let's do some more of what Jake, Bob, and myself do. Let's create some looks. Let's hook up a console, and let's watch our lights actually react to DMX commands in real time. So those are all things that we want to do. Also, there's some really cool things you could do with creating plots. You can run the reports like electrical and weights and all that good stuff. So that's a whole nother webinar in itself. But again, thank you guys very much for taking time out of your day to check out our webinar edition of our Stay Connected educational series on Capture. Jake, Bob, you want to add anything?
Thanks for having us. Great stream.
I don't believe so. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us online. But I'm glad everyone was able to spend some time with us, and hopefully you had some excitement in your day of quarantine.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys very much. Be safe and take care.